Hi crafting fam, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you stick around and enjoy all of the tutorials that I am hoping to share with you on this new year. By the time you watch this, it is the new year. I don't know if you can see, but I am still wearing Christmas, but it is still a little chilly out, and I am going out in a little bit for dinner, so gotta dress warmly. For today's tutorial, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, very simple. I'm creating a sign that says recording in progress to hang on my front door, something that I have been meaning to do for quite some time and just have not gotten around to it because, things happen. Before we get into the tutorial, I want to take a second because, I like to keep things real with you guys. And I want to take a second and let you know that I told you guys I wanted to turn this channel into a sublimation and Cricut only channel, and I still want to do that. However, things happen, and over the course of last year, before I made that decision, I did purchase things to make crafts with that had nothing to do with my Cricut or with sublimation, and those things have now taken up residence in one of the rooms of my home that is supposed to be for crafts, for my craft storage. But what happens when you start accumulating things and you have a room set aside for one specific thing is that room becomes a catch-all, and it tends to look a little disorganized. And that has happened. So before some of these crafts that I'm going to start the year off with will have to do with sublimation, will have to do with the Cricut, but there will be some that will not. And please don't get mad, but I got these crafts, I got these things to make crafts with, and I want to follow through with that. Once I have used up all of the items that I have accumulated to make crafts with, then I will start dedicating everything straight to sublimation and straight to vinyl and Cricut. So, but with that being said, yes, this first project, the sign will have to do with the Cricut because I'm going to have to use the Cricut and vinyl to create the sign. But there will be a couple things that I do that will not have anything to do with that. So please just bear with me. I hope you stick around and still enjoy the tutorials. I am still trying to make this channel what I originally wanted it to be, which was very successful and enough. I'm not looking to quit my job, guys. I love my day job. I love being a teacher, but I do want this channel to get well enough that I'm not having to push myself to do a video a week. I want to eventually get to 2 videos a week because I do still have my wreath channel that I'm still trying to make because I really enjoy making wreaths, and I still have my crochet things that I want to do. But mixed in with all of that, I still have to set aside time for my family and for myself. And so I want to get to a point where I'm only posting a couple times a week. But before I can do that, or not a couple times a week, I'm sorry, a couple times a month. But before I can do that, I have to reach those steps that, for those of you who are content creators, you know what I'm talking about. Your steps that you have to get to in order to be able to, one, afford to continue doing this, because these projects cost money, and some of these projects I probably wouldn't have done if I didn't have this channel. I mean, I'm just keeping it real with you guys. A lot of these projects I would have still done regardless. I just wouldn't have recorded them if I did not have this channel. But for some of the projects that I go out and I purchase the materials, that's not coming back from this channel yet. I'm hoping that it does eventually get there. If you're watching this and you're enjoying the tutorials that I put out there, and guys, disclaimer, full disclaimer, watch the whole tutorial before you start doing the craft. Don't do the craft right along with me, because I make mistakes and I don't hide those mistakes. Sometimes those mistakes are a little bit of a pain, but I don't hide those mistakes because I want you to see that it's okay when you're doing crafts to make a mistake. You just have to back up and punt and kind of go with the flow, so to speak. And let's face it, sometimes when you're watching some tutorials and they don't make any mistakes whatsoever, well, that makes it kind of, I don't want to say disheartening. It makes it intimidating sometimes for me, because it's like, I would have messed that up in so many ways before I got it right. I would have eventually got it right, but I would have messed it up so many ways. So, full disclaimer, make sure you watch the whole tutorial first before you do it. But I want to continue making these tutorials, and I need your help to be able to do that. And the help that I need from you is to hit subscribe, to hit the like button, comment below what you thought of the video, or if I ask a question like at the beginning, when I said, Happy New Year, did you bring the New Year in? Did you have a good Christmas? Things like that. I will do everything in my power to make sure I respond to everybody. It may take me a little bit sometimes because I'm at work, but I will respond to everybody. But these things help keep the channel going, and it helps me to be able to continue to provide more tutorials and to stay on here. And this is a really long intro, a lot longer than what I intended it to be. So without further ado, let's head over to the materials and I'll go over the things that you need and then we'll get started. Today's project shopping list is going to be very simple. The materials needed for this project are your cutting machine. I am using the Cricut Joy because this is not a big project. You'll need a sign. I got my sign from Hobby Lobby. However, you can purchase your sign from Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, or even the Dollar Tree. Mod Podge, and I'm using Mod Podge to seal in my letters so that they last a while, because this sign will be going on my door and my door will be closed, so it will be exposed to some weather. Smart vinyl, I am using both the black and the mint. However, the mint I will not use as smart vinyl. I will be placing it on a mat. I am using my Cricut Joy 12-inch standard grip mat. To weed, I'm going to use my Cricut weeding tool. To apply the Mod Podge, I am using a disposable sponge paintbrush. Once you have all of your materials, you're ready to begin. Remember, as a disclaimer, watch the video first all the way through and then try your hand at this project. You can even watch the video a second time as you're doing it, but I do suggest watching it all the way through first. If you're ready, let's get started. Okay, the first step is always going to be creating the design. This is going to be a simple design, and I'm going to show you how to create your SVG in Canva in the simplest way that I know how to create. Now, because we are creating an SVG in Canva, you will need the Pro version. Canva usually has a trial period that you can access, so you can test it out if you want to use it. There are other ways to create your SVG in Canva, but it's multiple steps and you do need another program to go along with it. This is the easiest way to do it where you don't need an additional program with it. So the first thing you want to do is create a design. I always go to custom and I have 11 by 8.5 already in. I'm just going to go with that. It's a normal size sheet of paper. Because I'm not going to be adding any kind of designs, it's just going to be words. I'm going to close this out. On your keyboard, click on the T and that'll give you your text. I want mine to say recording in progress. Oh, and the P capitalized. Now, I want this to be bigger. Before I do that part, I need to put my size in. So I'm just going to set this to the side, make it smaller. I can always make it bigger later. Go up to elements. So I am going to go up here, go to shapes, and under shapes, I want the square. I'm not going to be writing anything in it, but I do want to make it see-through, so to speak, or transparent, but we do need a border. I'm going to make the border 1/5 thick so it's not too thick. And this is not going to be used to cut. You're not going to cut this out. Matter of fact, before you save the project, this will be deleted. This is just so we know not to go outside of our workable area on our sign. And my sign is 8.5 wide and it is 6.5 tall. This is my workable area. On the sign itself, I do have a little bit more room than this, but it's very, very little. So I'm going to leave just like this. So I want to make this bigger. All the way up. Now I want to change my font. So I'm going to go up here to my font. And I'm going to use Love Twist Sans. I got this font from Creative Fabrica, and I will leave a link to Creative Fabrica down below in the description box. Now, I want, because the color of my box is going to be kind of like a mint color. Because this is a very light color, I am going to add to it. However, I'm not going to do any adding to it until we get into Canva, because Canva will not recognize our effects, so I'm not going to do our offset in here. I'm going to do it in there. But I'm not done yet. I still want to add one more little phrase to it, and I want to add at the bottom. I'm going to click T to pull in my text. Oh, it's not going to pull it in, really? Come on now. There it goes. Add to the bottom, and I want to put, please do not disturb. Now, you can do the text size by dragging it like this, or you can come up here and select the size you want. I like to do it this way because I can see at that moment what size it's going to be or how big it's going to be. And you really don't have to line it up from in this area. That was just me. That's when I design in Canva, that's usually just what I do. Make sure before we go to the final step that you delete that outside box because we don't need that. We're going to go up to Share, Download. And in the file type, you're going to change that to SVG. And remember, you're going to need the paid subscription for this. Click Transparent Background so you don't get a white box. And download. Make sure you save it to your computer. I usually save mine in the downloads unless it's a design I'm going to use multiple times. This is just a one-time deal. Now that we have it, it's completely done, saved to our computer. Now it's time to go over to Cricut Design Space and take the next steps. Once you get into your design space, you'll open up a new project and go to Upload. Click on Upload Image, Browse. You can either browse or you can drag and drop your image. Notice that there is no white box. That is because we did the transparent background. Had we not, then we would have a white box here. Make sure you have your image name what you want it. I just want mine recording in progress and click Upload. Your image will appear here. Click on the box. You'll notice the green around it and it'll show up down here. Add to canvas. And there it is in all of its glory. All right, now you'll notice that it is all grouped together. Okay, so what we need to do is ungroup. I'm not really sure why that's showing up as group because it's not grouped to anything, but that's okay. It did that to a lot of them. Now you want to take and highlight the please do not disturb, the whole thing. And to do that, you just drag your mouse across and group that. I personally go one step further and you can either attach or you can weld it. It's completely up to you. I think both ways keeps your words together just like this, so you're not piecing letters together because that's not fun. Now, I want to group each section here together. and then and attach, because you want them to stay together when you go to cutting. And now I want to do an offset. I'm going to leave it the 0.25 and the curved because I don't want it to have points. And I'm going to do the same thing to the end and the progress. And that I shouldn't have any triangles. I don't. By triangles, I mean I have my Cricut Joy selected. If any of these were too wide to put in the Cricut Joy, you would not be able to. Let me show you. It'll give you a triangle. If I was to group that together and attach, was not. First of all, it takes it into black mode, so I'm definitely going to unattach. But you get a warning symbol. It used to be a triangle. I guess now it's a exclamation point. But this is not supported because it's too large. So let's detach. Let's just do the backspace. And I don't want them all grouped together. As long as those words are still grouped together, that's good. You will lay we will be laying our lighter color onto the black color. And my do not disturb is all together. Now, if you're not sure if it is going to cut together, like recording cut together with recording, none of the letters being mixed and matched, all you have to do is click on Make It or Make. And then it'll show you here. Recording is together, progress is together, and the word in is together. Okay, go back. I like to save my projects just in case. Recording in progress. Okay, because in the past I get in too much of a hurry and I tend to misspell things and don't realize it until it's already cut out. I like to do a double check to make sure, and you can be the best speller in the world. It doesn't take but one time or one little mishap to misspell a word, and once it's cut, it's done. It's not a big deal if you just got the letters mix and match, because you can fix that. But if you misspell it, like let's say I put an extra letter in, or I accidentally put an A instead of an O, things like that, you can't really, that's harder to fix. Not impossible, but harder. So once you have it completely done, it's completely set up the way you want it, next step is to click the Make. I am using without the mat, and this is where I want to move things around. To utilize the best space. So this will stop at about 22 inches now instead of 24. Yeah, I don't see anything else I can do to that one. And in this one, it's pretty much the same. But I do want to space them out a little bit. Because this is vinyl and not iron-on or anything like that, you don't have to mirror it. If it was iron-on, then you would have to mirror that. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I just realized that the mint that I have is only 12 inches. So if I did it off the mat, it would put me at 13 inches. And that's because it gives so much, it takes off like an inch off the top of it. But if I put this on a mat for this one, then it will fit on the 12. I will have enough. So that's why my mint will be on a mat and my black will not, because I know I have enough for the black. That's not an issue. I did not realize that I only have 12 inches on the mint, but that's easily fixed. So if you only have a 12-inch sheet and your project goes to 13, if you're not using a mat, take it off the smart load and put it on a mat. And by take it off the smart load, I don't mean peel your vinyl from the paper. I mean take your material load type
off of the smart load and put it on matte, and then you will be able to fit it all. Always make sure when you click off the first one that you re-put it back on there, so that that'll be your first cut. Once you have everything set up exactly the way you need it set up, the black not on a mat, the mint on a mat, this one's going to be blank so it will not show up on the next step. You're going to hit continue. It should find your machine that is connected. Choose your smart vinyl. I always select on the pressure more and then follow the online instructions. I always keep my fine point blade in the clamp, but I always take it out before every project to check the blade to make sure there is nothing on it. Really and truly, this should be something that is a habit for when we finish a project, to make sure nothing is on the blade, so nothing is on there for any length of time. But as long as you check it before you cut, that's really what matters. Then you'll load your machine and click go when it tells you to.
When I'm weeding, I always try to get the center pieces out first. It just seems to make it do better, or it's easier to get to the center pieces, especially when you are using small letters. I'm going to do the please do not disturb first. This is the easy part until we get down to the please do not disturb, because you want to make sure that you do not pull up any of the little letters. Like cut out each individual one, so I'm only working with what I actually need. Okay, so I just realized that I did something really dumb. This is why I say watch all the way through before you do the project, because I make mistakes too. It just happens. So while I measured everything in Canva, I did not measure in Cricut Design Space. I just created. And I made sure that it would run through the Cricut Joy, but I did not make sure that it would fit on my sign. So, as you can see, it does not, I don't know if you can see this or not, but that does not fit on my sign. So, I've got two options. One option, if I want to continue to use this color, the mint, because I don't have any more of the mint now that it's been cut. Daddy always said, measure twice, cut once. That was not just in reference to carpentry. This is also in reference to Cricut and vinyl. So what I can do is go back to Hobby Lobby and find me a sign that will fit what I've cut out. And in order to do that, I need to go ahead and finish putting all of this together. So let me go ahead. Just cutting all of this out because I'm going to need this all cut out so that I can measure to get the right size sign. Learn from my mistakes. Now, to do this properly, I'm going to need to tape this down. So, I was going to use, make sure you guys can see these. I was going to use painter's tape, but I don't know where my painter's tape is off the top of my head. So, I'm using Scotch tape. Being very careful not to get tape on the vinyl. On the big vinyl, it won't matter because I can keep that from coming up. No problem. Oh, I will need to move it to be able to put the mint on there. Not an issue. There. Y'all know I can't do anything simple like. I've got to have a challenge. Just like so. Don't forget your transfer tape as well. I did not include that in our list of things that we need. Another reason why we always watch all the way through, because I usually forget to mention something. Now what I need to do is measure, because so I need something that is at least, it's 11, yep, at least 11 by 9. So if I can find something that is 1 foot, 12 inches by, say, 10, in between 10 and 11, in between 10 and 12, then I'm good to go. So now I've got to go to Hobby Lobby. I'll be back. Okay, guys, it is now the next day. I did go to Hobby Lobby last night, and as you can tell, I got a new sign. This is optional. I'm not going to do it, but you can choose. I'm going to move this. You can choose to sand this all down and paint it and make it the frame itself, not the, well, you could do that part too. I'm not. I'm going to leave it in its natural form. I did, however, go over this part like this just to get any of the, and I don't know if you can see that, but just to get any of the little splinters or little pieces that come off so easily, get them up so that it wouldn't get caught underneath the vinyl. So add that to your list of supplies, I guess. I'm always finding new things that we need to get before or as the project goes. Now, what I do want to do is go ahead and pick all these up. Take the tape off of them because I'm going to lay it out. I want to lay it out to see exactly how I want it on here. Well, you can definitely see this sign coming, can't you? Recording in progress. Please do not disturb. I'm not going to put a bow. I was tempted. I'm not going to put a bow on it or anything like that. I'm just going to, it's just going to be just like this. Now, I may decide later to change it, but as of right now, this is how it's going to look. So, because this is all one piece, you can choose to use a, here we go, to use your transfer tape with these, or you can choose to do just like I'm doing, peel it up and then lay it down. I'm going to lay one side down and then using my fingers or my hands, just run it through. And then just kind of smooth it out. Most of those little bubbles are gone. I did do a little bit more research last night on different ways other than putting a needle in the vinyl to get rid of the bubbles. Once the bubbles are there, that's pretty much the thing to do, is the needle. It, other than giving it a little bit to settle, and most of them will come out. But I did find that people are using parchment paper to layer. And I may give that a try the next time I am layering vinyl. If you've ever used parchment paper, or the parchment paper trick, so to speak, to layer your vinyl, tell me below in the comments, how did it work for you? Was it simple to do? Or is this something I need to practice off camera several times before I do it on camera? Nah, you know me. Mistakes and all. You guys see it all. I am just eyeballing mine where I like it as far as what I see. You can also choose to use a tape measure or whatever to center it. Now, for the please do not disturb, I will use transfer tape for that because I'm not picking up each individual letter and placing them because, no. And I want you guys to know that I went off camera to peel this and I come up with no problems. Now I do want to use Mod Podge to seal this in to avoid any of the letters coming off later on due to heat or cold, because you know that will sometimes happen. So let's get out the Mod Podge. Make sure before you open up your Mod Podge that you shake it up really well and that you're in a well ventilated area. I'm working right in front of my window, so the fumes will not accumulate in here. Too bad. This will dry clear. I've used this multiple times. Just put a good coating over it. If you're good with epoxy, or resin, this would be a good time to use that as well. I've never used it before, and I'd really prefer not to use it on this project. That would be something I'd like to, oh, that scared me. I'd like to test it before using it. I don't know if resin's really something I want to get into, but this would definitely be one of those projects because there's a lip around it, so you could fill this area in and even put glitter or sparkles or anything like that in there to kind of add to it. Now once I'm done, I am going to just let this air dry. If you don't want to wait for it to air dry, you can always use a heat gun, and that'll speed up the process. Yes, I am doing a generous, very generous coating because I want to make sure it is sealed in. You can also do more than one coat if you wanted to. I think as much as I'm putting on here, one coat will probably be okay. Well, what should have been a project that should have only taken a day, a few hours, really and truly a few hours, ended up taking me 2 days, but my own fault. My own fault. Remember, measure twice, cut once. That applies to not just woodwork, it applies to doing vinyl too. But as you can see, it's done. It turned out, I like it. It's nothing flashy. There's no bows, there's no decoration around it, but it will get the point across, and it is exactly what I need. Big enough that everybody can see it, which is what I wanted. I really didn't want it that big, but that's okay, no problem. But this is why, and if you can hear my bird in the background, I'm sorry, she's trying to be vocal right now. She wants attention. She wants to be a part of the video, I think, but we're not doing that. But I forgot what I was saying, but anyway, I didn't really want it that big. I really wanted it to be this big, and as you can see, that is there's a huge difference there. But with that being said, I really feel like this will be seen from a distance too. If my parents, because my mom lives next door with my daughter, or my daughter lives next door with my mom, and so if they are wanting to come over, but they see this on the porch hanging from my door, they will be like, "Oh, okay, she's recording. I will wait and go when the sign is no longer there," and it keeps them from having to leave their home because right now it's still cold outside. I know I've got on short sleeves, but I'm indoors, so. I like it. I think it suits the purpose. Tell me what you think in the comments. It's not flashy, and I'm okay with that. Oh, maybe I should have used a ruler or something. I just noticed my please do not disturb is a little crooked. I don't know if you can see that, but that's okay. It's still readable. That's what matters. So about the beginning of the video when I was, for lack of better words, rambling a little bit about eventually going to 2 videos a month. I think that's what I'm going to do is for right now until things kind of get back in a rhythm. I'm going to do a video every other week, and instead of posting on Thursdays, I'm going to have them post on Saturdays because I think that'll give me the week to be able to get things done because sometimes a project that's supposed to take a couple hours sometimes takes a little longer, and that happens. So I think the next video is going to be in 2 Saturdays from this video, or not next Saturday, but the following Saturday, and this one should air on Saturday. I'm not even going to say a date. It should air on Saturday, and hopefully everything will start going smoothly, and I will be able to start getting more content to you as everything kind of settles back into place, because I am still working, and that takes a lot of my time, as well as being able to spend time with the grands. So, as always, until next time, remember, keep crafting your best life.